Good morning, viewers. Today we are going to speak on cost optimization in GST. Which are the best business practices? If we have to understand cost control or reduction, as the name suggests, it's a system by which we will evaluate, monitor, trim the expenditure, maybe in capital goods. In GST, we would look more at ITC percentage, efficiency of various processes. Cost reduction basically means to reduce the cost of the product, and GST can have a profound impact for procuring goods at reasonable prices, net of the ITC, logistics, whether forward charge or RCM with regard to vendors, which is better, marketing, whether the marketing can be shared with the uh, distributing channel, and the cost of goods can be brought down. The tax rate itself could be an area of reduction in cost by looking at the concessions, the exemptions, and this is a continuous effort. In GST, what could be the common methods of cost control and reduction? It would be, first of all, avoiding the common errors, which is there in many of the books which you can refer to, including our books. If we correct it early and enable full ITC, then you would certainly reduce cost. Very importantly, the systems play an important role. The systems in GST, not only the system for production or distribution. In this regard, if we can put detection controls, preventive controls, and corrective controls in place after a system study, putting in place a standard operating procedure or a review by professionals of the whole system, these professionals who know GST and also know audit. One more area could be whether to do the entire compliance in-house or outsource it partially or fully for compliance or for advice. When we go for a choice of consultants, very important that the scope is made clear. Everything should be in writing, including the reports of the consultants. They should be made accountable. Adopting information technology has become something which is a no-brainer today. Everybody has to adopt information technology to reduce their costs. Some of the areas in GST where we could look at cost control is understanding what is a supply and what is not. If it is not a supply, then the question about GST will not come. If it is a supply, then of course we have to look at what is the rate, whether any concessional rate is available. Most of the supplies would be single supplies. However, there could be composite supplies, multiple supplies. In that case, the concept of composite supply is very important to understand, where the principal supply would determine the rate of GST for that particular set of taxable supplies. When we have only one price for various items which are not composite, they are put up in a package or a bundle and priced singly, but they have no connection between themselves. They can as well be supplied separately. Then it becomes a mixed supply, which is pretty dangerous, because in this case you have to adopt the highest rate. Of course, we have to also know that majority of the supplies would be non-composite, where even though more than one supply is there, whether it's goods or services, they are non-composite, and the separate line items are there for that, and there is no one single lump sum amount. So this could be very important while planning kits, etc. Quick availment of ITC is very important. No delay should be there due to whatever the reason. If we work with vendors, working with vendors and bifurcating them into very compliant and not compliant could possibly be a way in which this can be optimized. We should also ensure that we get the full ITC. There should be no break in the chain of the vendors who supply goods to you. One more possibility is deferring supply, which means that when the customer gets the item and the items leave your factory, if there is a gap, then can we send it on sale on approval basis? Can we ensure that there is a branch in between and the branch would finally discharge the due tax on or near to the date when the customer needs it based on his delivery schedule? Especially in JIT supplies, this could help. Raising of debit note. Sometimes during the course of supplies, higher price is asked for, but supplies continue. And at a later point of time, the escalation is agreed. The gap would lead to interest. And therefore, we may like to ensure that we comply with time of supply and see that the gap is the least. Especially debit notes beyond the annual return date may not be eligible for a deduction at all. One more area could be refunds, whether it is inverted duty structure, which is available for those where the output rate is lower than the input rate. Input rate of tax or input tax credit would include services credit, capital goods credit. This was recently decided in a Gujarat High Court decision of VKC. FTP benefits are also substantial, especially for the exporters, where for the goods there is a manufactured from India's incentive scheme, and for service from India incentive scheme, SEIS, MEIS, where the amount could be 2 to 7% of the gross amount of export itself. This could be substantial, and therefore we need to apply for it well in time and see that our cash flow is enhanced. Wherever there is a delay, whether it's a refund in inverted duty structure, or there is a refund for exports, or there is a FTP benefit, we should apply for interest on the delayed refunds. This has two advantages. Number one, the interest comes in as an additional income. Number two, the department which is held accountable for delays would ensure there are no delays. Sometimes when we are doing business, due to the complexity of the law, we are not sure whether we should be paying the taxes or not. At the same time, if we do not pass on the tax to the customer, then we may get short-charged in the sense that later with interest and penalty we would get a demand and we will not be able to recover from the customer. So we choose as a measure of caution to pay the higher tax, and at such time we can pay under protest. Though this particular facility is not there in GST, it's a right which one can claim, and you should write a letter duly acknowledged that you're paying under protest and what is the reason. In the case of ITC, this would be even more useful because there are always cases where there is a departmental view which is normally very conservative and comes from the VAT regime, where credits were not really eligible and they were not a right. There it used to be a deduction from the tax. So in such cases, ITC, if there is going to be any objection, that also you can avail the credit, reverse it under protest. That would ensure that at some time in the future you could take the credit. One of the biggest items which I could think of today is the steel and cement credit, which in the Orissa High Court decision of Safari, the High Court observed that the credit should be available, though there is a restriction in section 17(5). So in such cases also you could avail the credit and keep the credit in case you are not able to utilize that credit or you are unable to further move forward due to GST portal problems. You could reverse under protest again. Many times the interest is something which is very important to discharge or not. Many times where the amount is something which is doubtful, maybe the interest need not be paid because there is no interest on interest. So the interest can be paid at the time when there's a demand from the department. Many times when we are doing something a transaction which is possibly incorrect, then there is a facility that without penalty you can suo motu on your own, pay the tax, differential tax after availing the ITC credit and pay the differential with interest. Penalty will not come in such case. So this also could be a method of the control of the cost. How to do? We can possibly look at review by professionals for early collection and benefits being realized earlier. Disclosure to the revenue authorities to prevent longer period limitation in future is a suggested or recommended practice for all companies, so that even if there is some understanding mistake, then even if there is a demand later, the demand would be limited to 3 years instead of 5 years. One of the biggest or most important ways in which we can ensure GST cost control is by having proper policies and procedures for GST. We know that the understanding of the people in the industry and the consultants also to some extent is little unclear for GST. They do not have the experience and law is a little vague. Therefore, we have to ensure that when we have these procedures put in place, the authorization limits for decision making, whether it is for choosing a particular rate or for availing credit of doubtful aspects, whatever it is, we should have procedures in place. We should remember that GST will account for approximately 30% of the turnover, 18% of the output tax, and maybe 12% of input tax. So on the turnover, there is 30%, which is quite substantial. Mistakes in this regard could be fatal. We could also go for standard operating procedures being laid down, which is a subset of the policies and procedures, where possibly we could start with ITC. And in that procedure, we have to see that eligible ITC, completeness of the ITC taken, no duplication, adequate and proper reversals are done. In case of doubtful ITC, we could keep it in a memorandum account whenever we reverse under protest, because that may not be there in the books anymore. Maybe use of a memorandum accounts is useful. In addition to this, there are transactions where you need to reverse ITC in case you have exceeded 180 days or your job work material has not come back. But as and when you pay or as and when that material comes back, you can take the recredit. So this should be a memorandum account where quarterly you could revisit the account and see that it is brought down to the minimum and re-avail the credits which you would have reversed earlier. As far as the marketing and sales team is concerned, we should ensure that they understand basics of GST and ensure that they quote properly, depending on the customer, where the customer is able to avail the credit and he doesn't bother about the taxes. Maybe the quote plus taxes, basic plus taxes is preferable. Wherever you work with institutions like PSUs or government organizations, where they look at the total cost inclusive of GST, we should quote inclusive of GST and plan to see that we can pay the least amount of GST. This would be useful for supplies of UPS, solar systems. Many places this would be very useful. We have seen that at some times the job work has high level of capital goods used or consumables used. At such time, we have to ensure that the credit of the consumables or the capital goods is also factored at the time I fix up the job work charges, because whatever GST is charged on the job work, it can be set off against the ITC by the job worker. Example could be a milling industry. Today you use advanced milling machines and they have to be replaced every 2 years. So capital cost is high. Consumables also, like diamond dressers, carbide tips, also have ITC, which is quite high. The ITC could be as high as 12 to 13% of the output tax, and therefore in such cases, whether we have considered that when we fix up the job work charge, ensure job worker takes the particular credit and passes it on to you is very important. Alternatively, you could supply all these items by using bill to ship to, where there will be billing done to the principal, shipping done to the job worker, and credit will be availed by the principal. As far as services are concerned, there is a lot of problem in the intermediary services. This is because of traditionally how India developed. Earlier, we used to have only commission being paid for putting the buyer and seller together. Over a period of time, technological advances and capacities in India have improved to such an extent that a large amount of the services like consultancy, management consultancy, technical consultancy, development of product, customization of the exporters' equipment or parts outside India, all these can be done sitting in India. And these services, we have to see that it gets broken up between what services you provide on own account and what services you provide as an intermediary. These would ensure two things. Number one, for the own services, it would be exports and you will get the FTP benefits. You will also get the GST refund. Whereas for the intermediary, you might have to pay the GST on that intermediary part of it. So if I'm getting a 20% commission, then 2% could be for intermediary, 18% could be for technical and business support services. And obviously, this is going to make a lot of difference. We have seen that sometimes classification is not done properly because it is done as per what the neighbor is doing, what the industry is doing, rather than actually looking at the tariff and looking at the alternatives. There also some structuring can be done. At times, you can do one process at the recipient's premises, which will change the classification to a lower rate, especially when the recipient is unable to take the credit. There are also a large number of decisions of the court because of the complex GST law. In fact, every month you will have one or two which make a difference. Last month we had one on branch and the company, which is difference between a branch and a group company, where it was held that a group company is a separate entity and therefore export would be allowed. There was also one on the inverted duty structure, which I spoke of earlier of VKC. There was previous month, there was one on interest, previous months I should say, on interest on net rather than gross. So looking at case laws also could be something which is very useful. Remember, in this particular presentation, I'm only giving a short trailer and nothing more. These are the resources which you could refer to and where you could get much more information on GST. There are legal dictionaries for those who are a little more serious, where stakes are large. Please use legal dictionaries. The old case laws are very useful. There are books written already. Raghuraman has written one book. We are in the course of writing a book. As far as audit is concerned, with value addition, books are available. Taxman publication is there. Our own book is available, which was published in July of 2020. There is one which is going to be published in the next few days. Real estate, textiles is coming next month, and many more. The last link which I have provided is to a course, advanced course which we had run 2 months back, which was at a very high level, where the issues were looked at and also the case law interpretations were put into it. Good speakers were there, and therefore it may be ideal. Some of you who are interested could go through this course. Subject wise, it's available. And also there is one on cost control and tax planning, which is a full 1 hour, 1.5 hours discourse with question and answers at the end. Possibly you could go through that. Happy learning to all of you. I would be happy to answer any of your questions if you were to mail it to me. Thank you very much. Be safe.